Welcome back. Today it's part 15 of the Secret Turnabout, or Act 3. Last time we got Gambit on the ropes. We started to find out some of his backstory. He's letting us know what he wants us to know, but we managed to find out something from show number 1, or at least we're about to find out, that Big Man Steel over here doesn't want us to know. And Gambit said enough. Because he said enough, we obviously had to postpone. We had to leave it on a cliffhanger, but enough to enough. They have the evidence. Just let them present it. Or, are you afraid of what's going to happen if they do? No, you can't. Please. Steel is getting desperate. Could it be we're getting close to his big secret? What's so damning about the name on that card that he's trying to keep us from hearing it?
Enough of this, Mr. Steele. I won't have you stored in this court any longer. Juror 1, have you found the memo you wrote yet?
Yes, Your Honor. Let's see here. Oh my. What is it? It seems the name written on this business card, the man I tried calling all those years ago, was not of the Corey rupture. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought so as well. I was like, it seems obvious it's going to be Money Steel, but since it was Corey Rupture who saved his life in actual fact, it could also have been him who brought him to the orphanage. Just how Money Steel fits into all this, I'm not sure. It's, I haven't figured that part out for myself yet. I just know that Corey Rupture was sort of the one that was more close to Gambit, trying to save him, whatever reason. What?
Order! I will have order!
What the heck is going on? I said it's Steele's name to be on that card, but this... I don't even know what to say about this. What does this mean? Whoa. Time out. The defense of the guy on the card was the one who left Aiden Gambit at the orphanage. Does that mean... Guess there's no point in hiding it any longer. Good job, Redhorn. You've earned it. You mean you admit it? Yep, you managed to uncover the truth. The one who took me to the orphanage was defense attorney Corey Rupture. It was him all along. But that still doesn't prove I'm John Seething. Not yet, it doesn't. So what if Corey and I share a past? That doesn't mean it's the same past as John's. And now you know how I got in touch with Steele. Corey, owe me a favour.
In any case, I believe this requires an amendment to your testimony, Mr. Gambit.
So be it. I don't get it. What does all this mean? I don't understand Steel dropping off Seething. But Rupture? Why was it him? Maybe I can figure out why. Maybe there's something in the court record I can show to figure out why Rupture would take Seething's fate into his own hands. Why do I get the feeling that whatever I found was completely crazy? Yeah, Corey brought me to the orphanage when I was young. Why is that so important? That's proof that you have a past with the victim. That's just more reasons to suspect you're John Seething. Come on, Redhorn, how long are you going to fall on the same tactics over and over? As I said, Corey and I sharing a past doesn't prove it's the same past John Seething had. But that's just too convenient. How can you know Rupture and not be John? Well, you know Phoenix Wright, the famous former lawyer? Is everyone who meets him you, Redhorn? Clearly not. That's not the same thing. Look, Corey Rupture was well known. He's met quite a few people in his life. The fact that he had a case involving a 9-year-old boy and then dropped off another 9-year-old boy at an orphanage isn't unrealistic. Not unrealistic, no, just extremely convenient. Is it really? Dude did a lot of stuff back in his day. He lived a busy life. Why is it so hard to believe he had duties outside of his job? Or maybe it was a different case. It could literally be anything. Not like I'd remember anyways.
Well, it does seem convenient, I must side with Mr. Gambit on this one. Without concrete evidence tying the victim's actions to Jonathan Seething, this point is moot. We could go in circles all day and never reach a conclusion, not without proof.
Proofs that the person Rupture dropped off the orphanage was actually John Seething. Maybe I'm looking at this wrong. Maybe it's not a matter of proving Gambit is Seething. Maybe I should assume that the two are the same and start asking myself the question, how does that change anything about the evidence we have? Answer that question, and I have my proof. Your Honor, I really want to question the jury about this statement because I've done it on every other statement and
Oh, very well, fucking completionists.
sure thing, Your Honor. What do you guys think? Wait, what? I'm confused now. I can understand if it was Steele who dropped him off, and at least might prove Gambit is Seething. But why would Corey bring either of them to the orphanage? Why would he step in like that? Maybe he found Aiden all abandoned and decided to make sure he got a good home. Maybe Corey wasn't as bad of a person as we've been led to believe. At least might prove Gambit is Seething. That's a good one. Yeah, no, do as a complete scumbag. I've seen Rupture work his ways more times than I can count. He doesn't just do nice things. If he's responsible for doing this, the dude had an ulterior motive. For once, Juror 2 and I are in complete agreement on something. Rupture didn't just do this out of the kindness of his heart. He was trying to achieve something. What was he trying to do? Aiden Gambit was just some random kid he didn't know. Even if the defense is right, even if Aiden Gambit is John Seething, why would Rupture care about John? He was just another witness to take down. Why put himself in charge of John Seething's well-being? It's a mystery, isn't it? Too bad I can't remember the answers. Unless Redhorn has proof otherwise, of course. Rupture brought Seething to the orphanage. Those are where the facts have led me. The reason why, however, is where things get confusing. What was Rupture trying to achieve? How does Seething fit into his plans? And most importantly of all, what does this imply about the past the two of them share? I'm really gonna have to think outside the box to answer this one. Does that have anything to do with the Pal Maractus blackmail letter? Was that the one sent to Corey? Or no, that was one sent to Steele. That's for Steele, though. That's also Steele. They were both wounded in the process. Is Zoe gonna tie in Rupture's wound or? This one belongs to the entrance. What's privacy? Yes. I don't know if I'm just going crazy or if I'm just completely off base, but I'm looking at this piece of evidence and I can't help but wonder.
Mr. Justice, is something wrong? Why have you just paused after your objection?
There's no turning back. I just have to say it. After the AS-10 incident, the witness, John Seething, disappeared without a trace. However, we've just learned that Aiden Gambit was brought to an orphanage when he was young. If Seething was brought to the orphanage under the name Aiden, that would explain his sudden disappearance after the trial.
Yes, it would make sense.
The problem is, if Aiden Gambit really is John Seething, there's a clear contradiction here.
A contradiction, you say?
John Seething was Steele's witness. You'd expect he would be the one to take John to the orphanage after the trial. And that's not who took on the responsibility. Instead, it was Corey Rupture who decided to take Jonathan Seething to the orphanage. The question is, why would he decide this was his responsibility? John wasn't his witness. He had no business in the young Seething's affairs.
Indeed, that seems like a matter best dealt with by Manny Steele in the prosecutor's office.
But what if he felt it was something he had to do? My theory is that Rupture didn't just do this action out of the kindness of his heart. He was hiding something. Or rather, hiding someone.
You mean Mr. Rupture was trying to hide John Seething away from the world?
That's correct, Your Honor.
But why on earth would he want to do that?
It's just a theory, but I believe Manny Steele's reaction may have given away the answer. For some reason, Mr. Steele didn't want us to figure out who took Seething to the orphanage. Every time he's been uncooperative in the trial, it all leads back to one thing.
There's not a trial to determine who actually saved John's life.
By hiding John Seething away, Corey Rupture was also trying to hide the real truth. The true identity behind Jonathan Seething's saviour.
Mr. Justice, you saying you know who saved John Seething during the assassination attempt?
I do, Your Honour. This last testimony has made it abundantly clear.
Your Honour, don't listen to him. It's all a trick. He's just trying to... Shut your fucking mouth up, you stupid little lying little bastard. Very well then, Mr. Justice. If you're so confident in your answer, please tell this court. However, as this is a very important question, I will not be lenient towards wrong answers.
This can't possibly be. Can't it? The answer is stuck in my throat because what it means, what it would imply, would be a heinous conspiracy, too cruel for words alone to describe. If what I'm about to suggest is true, then this truth I've been trying to uncover, this secret, will completely destroy everything we thought we knew about the AS-10 incident. The person who saved Jonathan Seething's life is actually... I think we know where this is going, don't we?
Trucy right?
This is the person who saved John Seething. Even at 3, she was quite amazing. Yeah, I didn't need to say anything. There's no time for games, Justice. Concentrate. One more misstep and you're toast. Okay. He knew the truth all along. The guy had the gall to say the kid was faking his injuries and had his entire testimony revoked. But he knew it was a lie. It was all part of his setup.
The main point is everyone already believed I'd saved John. It was just easier at that point to keep the lie going.
Yes, a setup to lead John Seething into a trap. The heinous secret that's been hidden for 13 long years is revealed today.
You can't be serious. It can't be that...
It could only have been one man. The victim, defense attorney Corey Rupture.
Order! Mr. Justice, explain yourself immediately.
Right away, Your Honour. Based on Manny Steele's reaction to us finding out Corey Rupture was the business card's owner, it's clear it all relates back to their attempts to cover up the identity of John Seething's saviour. Why would Corey Rupture want to keep that a secret? What do you have to gain? The only reason I can think of why is because the secret getting out would ruin him. But again, we have to ask, why would that be? It would have to be something damning. Something that proved he knew going into the trial that his argument was a complete sham. And only the identity of Seething saving you alone for the billers. That's right, himself. So, hold on. Yeah. Just trying to work out why. That's right, himself. He was the one who saved John's life, yet he still wanted to claim it was all fake. That's why he had to be the one to take John to the orphanage. He had to control the narrative. He couldn't take any risks. He had to make sure John was far away from anybody he could squeal to. He had to make sure John Seething ceased to exist, replaced by Aiden. Mr. Justice, you must see the holes in your argument. Jonathan Seething had just been used by the man he trusted, the man who saved his life. He would without a doubt lose trust in Corey Rupture, and there's no way Rupture wouldn't know this. We could take a quick read of that letter again. Come on, what do I say? So we don't know what his instructions were, other than we can guess that they were to go to our underground lab. Well, Rupture think that his plan would work, and why would Seething go along with it? You're thinking about it all wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. There was someone trying to kill John. His scar acts as proof of the attempt on his life. He didn't disappear. There was no telling when the next attempt may be. Not to mention, due to the trauma he had gone through, he'll be more than willing to leave John Seething behind and become a new person. And Corey Rupture, why would he think this would work? Because as far as he was aware, John couldn't remember who he was anymore. I believe John actually had amnesia. If he did, this entire crime wouldn't have happened. However, I do believe John may have been misdiagnosed with amnesia by Palmer Actus. Rupture was to believe the diagnosis. He thought he could do anything to John, and be able to get away with it due to this fact. So he took the opportunity to hide his insidious plot without spilling a single drop of blood. Everything you're saying is just getting more and more ridiculous, Redhorn. Look, I'm sure you're aware, but Manny Steele and Corey Rupture don't exactly look alike. And yet you're claiming that John somehow got the two mixed up? How did that happen? There's a big question in the back of our minds that you still haven't answered. Why would John say the wrong name in court when naming his saviour? That's an excellent question, but it's not my place to answer. It's yours, Manny Steele.
Me?
You already know you are not the man who saved Seething, yet you refuse to answer why he would think that you were his rescuer. However, if Corey Rupture was the man who saved him, there's only one clear answer. Rupture wanted John to say the wrong name and destroy his credibility as a witness. And you know he could have done that as if you colluded with him to make it so.
Mr. Justice, you say Mr. Rupture and Mr. Steele joined together to plot against Jonathan Seething.
I do. That's the only reason any of this makes any sense. It's clear that Steele would go to any lengths to keep this collusion a secret. This is why he's been so uncooperative during this trial. Well now, Redhorn, I think I could try to dispute this. But I think I'm much more interested in seeing how Steele will try and worm out of this one. Well, the stage is all yours, if you even dare. You what? What do you have to say for yourself, Steele?
You can't prove anything.
Are you still trying to fight it?
You couldn't stop it slandering John and Aiden, and now you have to slander my name too. Well, I'm not going to take this lying down. I would let you do this. You have a rebuttal, Mr. Steele. I do. Simply put, there's no proof Corey was the one who saved John's life. If anything, it would be in his best interest to let John die. Why risk his life like that? Show me proof Corey went out of his way to protect John. I won't accept anything else.
Come on, Steele. What will it take for you to give up already? Fine, if you will confess until I've squeezed it out of him. I'll make sure to squeeze as hard as I can. If you're going to try and find this proof, Mr. Justice, and I have a word of advice. Remember it's the autopsy. Come on. It's the bullet. I've been saying this for the past... Okay. I am... I'm not going to complain about this. It's actually good that you were able to put so many things in the past that you could, people could figure it out earlier. I like this feeling. But I'm pretending to be frustrated for comedic purposes. Remember everything you've learned up to this point, every detail that seemed out of place. If Colin Rupture really did save Jonathan Seething from the assassination attempt, then there may be a detail left unexplained that makes sense now. A detail left unexplained? Actually, I just know what that could be. A contradiction or something that makes sense with this new information.
Very well then, Mr. Justice. Present your evidence now. But first I'm going to pick a save state. Show this court proof the Corey Rupture was the one who saved Jonathan Seething's life.
There's one thing that's been bothering me for a long while. When the attempt on John's life happened, he claims his rescuer was wounded. However, Corey Rupture used Money of Steel's lack of wounds to argue the witness had a faulty memory and the attack never actually happened. On its face, that argument would make sense. However, Steele has admitted that he is not the one who actually saved Jonathan Seething. That's correct, Mr. Edgeworth. So is it really out of the question that his rescuer was wounded? If that really did happen, then there's every possibility that they actually did get hurt.
That could be. But nobody with a wound like that revealed themselves to the police.
You forget, Mr. Steele. Corey Rupture wanted to keep his involvement a secret. That doesn't matter because his wound was found regardless.
What?
In the autopsy report, it mentions a scar on the victim's shoulder. It's a bullet wound that had been operated on several years in the past, long before the murder.
A bullet wound? That could very well be the wound he received during the attack.
I think that's what he must be referring to in this letter then. My late buddy old pal left me the evidence to ruin you, so it was the record of Rupture's surgery. That's exactly right, Your Honour. Incidentally, the medical records mentioned on the autopsy report were files recovered from the Maractus clinic, after Paul Maractus' death. Well, Steele, does that prove it yet?
Mr. Justice, this has gone on for long enough.
He still won't give up.
It's true, Corey does have a bullet wound in his shoulder. That's much I can't deny. But Corey also made a lot of enemies. He could have gotten shot anywhere. I maintain that the scar has nothing to do with the attack.
Why, Steele? Why do you keep resisting? What will it take for you to finally admit the truth?
I don't have to admit anything, Mr. Justice. Quite frankly, I'm tired of you thinking that you can push me around. I'm a man of steel, you see. I'm sick of your speculating. That's all you can ever do. I want to be done with this trial. I want to go back to my cell. You show proof or don't hear, Mr. Justice.
I don't want to go this far, Steele. I never wanted to force your hand. But you lied to us. Even now, you still lie. If you refuse to tell us the truth, then I have no choice. I'll show you the proof you want. It'll be so conclusive that even you can't refute it. It's time to end these lies.
Mr. Justice, I believe the time has come to present conclusive evidence to this court. Your goal is to finally prove that Trybien Gambit is, in fact, Jonathan Seething, and also that Corey Rupture is responsible for saving his life. This is it. I will not allow any mistakes now. You have been warned.
No mistakes allowed. I better think carefully before I answer them. I should comb through the court record to see if the evidence I need is in my possession. Do I have the evidence I need? If not, then where is it? I think I do. I think it's the second blackmail letter. So I have to make a decision. Do I have the evidence to prove Rupture saved Seething's life? The defense will provide evidence to the court. This evidence will put this matter to rest once and for all.
Very well, Mr. Justice, it's time to put your money where your mouth is. Show this court proof that connects Koryev's wound to the night of the attack.
Here we go. This is my evidence.
And what is this supposed to show exactly?
This evidence puts all questions to rest once and for all. This finally proves everything the defense has been saying, Your Honor. Pal? Steele?
Mr. Edgeworth, your thoughts?
The prosecution fails to see how this proves much of anything, Your Honor. Oh, what? Mr. Edgeworth, enough. It's all over, Mr. Justice. You were given one chance, and you failed to prove your case. No, how could I mess up here?
Mr. Justice, you were warned about what the consequences of failure would bring. Now I must uphold my end of the bargain. It's enough. I see no need to further prolong this trial. The defence can no longer present a proper case to this court. As such, I move for immediate adjudication following the verdict. It seems the jury's vote is unanimous. They've declared the defendant Hercule Leary. The defendant will surrender himself to the court immediately to undergo a regular trial at the High Court within the next month. Court is adjourned.
How about... Yeah, because... I mean, I was thinking this might have just been put in to trick me, because I was sure it was the second letter. But they usually only put this kind of thing in when it's somewhere else. The defense does not currently have the evidence to prove its claims. Are we trying to requisition these medical records here?
Shame, then I cannot let your claim stand.
See, I knew it, all bark and no bite. I'm not finished yet, Mr. Steele.
What did you say?
The defense does not currently have possession of the evidence to prove the Koryob received his wound on the night of the attack. But we do know where that evidence may be found.
What?
What did I just say?
This should certainly prove interesting. Very well, Mr. Justice. I'm all ears.
I just saved John's life. I can't let myself doubt that fact for even a second. But that means he also knew Steele saving John was a lie. So if he really knew that, it could give a whole new meaning to a certain piece of evidence.
Time is up, Mr. Justice. Let's hear your answer. Show this court how we may find the evidence to prove Koryev's saved the young seething.
Is this what was in the second letter? Okay. So I was right, but there was a roundabout way of doing it. Because it's the evidence referred to here, isn't it?
Money steals blackmail letter.
Your Honor, there's a part of this letter that I find very interesting. Don't mess this up, and don't you dare betray me. My late buddy old pal left me the evidence I need to ruin you. If I'm going down, then so are you.
Yes, it is very odd indeed. It makes it sound like the blackmailer has just as much loot as Steele did.
That's because he did, Your Honor. After all, if it got out who was the one who really saved John Seething, his career would also be over.
You can't possibly be saying.
Oh, right. Now I see. It wasn't that Aiden sent both these blackmail letters. What he did was he sent a letter to Rupture, and in the next instruction, or one of them anyway, was to send a letter to Steele. That is making sense now. That's why he said, my late buddy old pal left me the evidence. It's true. At long last the mystery is revealed. The one who was blackmailing Steele into doing his bidding, the one who wrote this letter, it was none other than the victim, Corey Rupture. He's the blackmailer.
No. Stop. Stop! Mr. Justice, that's incredible! To think that the victim was blackmailing Mr. Steele the entire time.
Yeah, who would have guessed? Well, Redhorn, are you going to stop there? You've come this far, might as well not hold back. How will this letter help us find this evidence of yours? He's not fighting it anymore. He's just going to let me do it? That's what he wants, man. He wants Steele to go down. Very well, please consider a part of the letter I've already read out loud. My late buddy old pal left me the evidence I need to ruin you.
That's a rather cryptic clue to find the evidence we need.
It's actually not very cryptic if you think about it, Your Honor.
Sorry, I'm not really good at thinking.
Actually, it's quite obvious if you notice one little detail. The word pal is capitalized.
Oh, so pal isn't a regular noun, it's referring to a person named Pal. Do we know anyone named Pal? I don't know.
Exactly, Your Honor. And there's only one person this letter could be referring to. Corey should have left the evidence to ruin Steele in the hands of the Dr. Pal Maractus. I see, someone explains it. Mr. Edgeworth? Mr. Justice, do you remember when I said earlier that the medical records showing Corey Rupture had been shot in the past were retrieved from the Maractus clinic? Yes, I do. I assume you retrieved them after his death? Naturally we did. We actually retrieved a lot of evidence from his clinic. He was known to hold on to incriminating evidence he found during surgeries, so as not to give away his clients with more dubious connections. Along with the medical report, we also uncovered something strange alongside it. 2 bullets covered in blood, both incredibly well preserved, both in the same bag, and of course the ballistic markings on both bullets matched. Ballistic markings? They're like the fingerprints of a gun. Indeed. You were taught well, it seems. Until now, the existence of these bullets has baffled us. A DNA test showed that the blood on one of the bullets belonged to Corey Rupture, but we were never able to figure out whose blood was on the second bullet. And we have to have a DNA test right here, right now. If the blood on the bullet belongs to Aiden Gambit, it would prove he was saved by Corey Rupture, and in turn it would prove that he is, in fact, Jonathan Seething.
Very well then, let us put an end to this once and for all. Aiden Gambit, please submit yourself to a DNA test at once.
What, you need my permission all of a sudden? Come on, get it over with. Let's end this sham already.
No, you can't do this, Aiden. Don't give them your DNA. They have...
I don't know if the mic's picking that up, but it's an ice cream fan in the background.
They have no right to do this to you. It's all a trick. Lie.
We've never had to go this far. You just told us the truth, Steele. Because you refuse to give us answers, this is what we're forced to do to pursue the truth.
You don't know what you're doing. What does it do to me? I'll give you what you want, whatever you want. Just don't do this.
We've already told you what we want. We want the truth, no matter what it takes. You will keep us from it, Steele, not now that we're so close.
You can't, please. Please.
Well, Steele, there's nowhere to run. You know what we'll find. Do we have to do it ourselves, or will you finally stop hiding behind your phony confession? I want the truth, Manny Steele. Did you and Corey Rupture conspire against John Seething?
You... It's not what it seems.
Not of Sky, you have the results of the DNA test. The DNA match was confirmed on the blood of the second bullet. There can be no doubt. The blood belongs to Aiden Gambit. So I was right, and that means everything I've been trying to prove.
Then there can be no doubt about it then, that this proves the defence's claims are true. Aiden Gambit and John Seething are one and the same. It is now undeniable.
It's over, Steele. The evidence is clear. Do you retract your confession?
I do. I can't go on like this anymore. I never actually stolen the files from the Central's office. It was all a lie. I'm sorry. It was on to cover up the truth of the AS-10 incident.
At last, he finally admits it. If Corey saved John's life, then that must mean the letter used in the trial was meant for him. Type blackmail to shown during the last day trial defense was actually sent to Corey Upshur. It's the same.
Why would you do this, Steele? Why conspire against Jonathan Seething? What did you have to gain? Look, I didn't mean to, alright? I wasn't trying to hurt him. You didn't mean to collude with Corey Upshur? Pardon me if that sounds a bit ridiculous. But it's the truth, honest. It all started when I was put in charge of prosecuting the case. After the assassination, I was chosen as the one to prosecute murder. I thought it would be a cut and dry case, but that's when I received an anonymous phone call.
Don't go near John. We'll take care of him.
I felt a cold chill down my spine. I knew they couldn't have meant anything good by saying that. After a bit of hesitation, I rushed over to the witness protection spot for John, but he wasn't there. He had gone missing. I panicked. I had no idea what to do, and then my phone rang again. I answered it, and I was horrified by what I heard on the other end.
We told you to leave John alone. Do not try and get in our way. It's your final warning.
I was scared. I knew if I didn't comply, they would come after me. So I left the matter alone. I didn't feel good about it, but I knew I had to. The next day in the office, I tried to figure out what had happened that night before. And that's when the rumours started spreading around the office saying that John had been attacked. That was bad enough. I thought I was going to lose my job for letting this happen. But then what I heard next shook me to my core.
Rumor has it the kid's saying you saved his life. You're a hero around the office, man. You really showed him.
I was scared. I remembered the threats I'd received for trying to contact John. What if they believed I'd ruined their plans? What if they tried to kill me next? I hid away in my bedroom, hoping nobody would come to get me. I was terrified.
So he never actually met Jonathan Seething. And that is why Rupshur was able to say, well, my name is Manny Steele.
Before I knew it, the trial came. I had no choice but to step outside and hope I would survive.
And then once the trial began, John took the stand and talked about how you saved him.
Right, I had no idea how I was going to handle this. Agreeing with it meant risking my life, but opposing it meant arguing with my own witness. Before I got a word in edgewise, that's when Corey stopped him. He asked me to show my shoulder to see if there was a bullet wound there. And of course there wasn't.
Okay, so we did meet John. But not until the trial.
I was confused. How could he have known to do something like that? That's when I realised what exactly Corey had done. The trap he had laid for John.
So... that was the shoulder too. It's in the file. So the only reason he saved John was to lead him into his trap?
No, if his case was all he was concerned about, he would have let John die. But even if he isn't that heartless, even he knew resorting to killing was wrong. He's a man who used many dirty tactics, but even he had his limits. Since he was close to the kind of people who set this up, he must have heard about it from them. I believe him saving John was a genuine act, when he must have seen an opportunity there. But you, Manny Steele, could have stopped that opportunity dead in its tracks. If you had seen the trick Corey Upshur had pulled, it was your job to point it out. I know I should have, but I was too scared. Corey must have known I'd be too afraid of what would happen to me if I challenged him on this. I guess he knew me a bit too well, but more than that. If I wouldn't know that he betrayed the people who set this up, I'd be condemning him to die. I figured if nobody really knew the truth, it would spare both of us. So I stayed quiet. Corey saved my life, so I saved his. John's testimony got thrown out like he wanted. I had to walk away without a target on my back. The next day I heard that John had gone missing. I knew I was finally home free. But I never did sleep right after that. Not after knowing who did to poor John.
As well you shouldn't! You betrayed him and then tossed him aside like trash! And even if you say you also wanted to protect Rupture, that didn't stop him from being killed anyways.
Oh no, okay, I know what I did was wrong. Can you imagine what it's like, living with this guilt for 13 years?
Well, actually... Well, anyway, but of course it wasn't over. It came back to haunt you when you received this blackmail letter from Corey Rupture. Yeah, I couldn't run from it forever. Of course I knew it was Corey. It was far too obvious it was him. But I still had no idea what to do. I thought I'd have to become a thief and steal it from your office. And right when things were at their lowest was when John suddenly appeared again. All this time I thought he was dead, and my inaction had killed him so long ago. And when I saw he was alive and well, I thought he'd come back for revenge. But he wasn't. At least I thought he wasn't. Seems like you're in a bit of trouble. Let me take care of it.
That's what he said. All he asked in return is that I let him through the entrance in the parking lot. In fact, letting him in is why I stayed back that late.
That must have been when he set up his plan to steal the files from Edgeworth's office.
I did as he asked, without questioning what he wanted to do. But I was so terrified of what might happen next. What if he couldn't help me? So I broke off from the plan. I found myself in front of Mr. Edgeworth's office. I'm showing you the rest from there. Are you trying to steal the AS-10 files from right off my shelves? When I failed, I tried to hide out in my office, but I realized I forgot my key. If it weren't for the security lady coming by and using the master key, I'd be done for. I hid out there until I thought it was safe to go, leaving the building empty-handed. Even so, the files were found in your office the next morning. I had no idea what was going on. Was this all part of John's plan? Was he out for revenge after all? That's when he offered to be my lawyer. I had no choice. I just had to let him do his thing. And then, on the second day of the trial, John finally told me his plan. He was going to lay the blame of the crime on the person who sent me the letter. On Corey.
Oh, what? That's not what he did.
I thought it was insane. I thought the prosecution would find it way too convenient. That we had this letter the entire time and never brought it up. They might think it was forged. But John convinced me that I should just go along with it. So much am I surprised when John suddenly started accusing himself out of nowhere.
I think I see now. It might not have been Seething's intentions of accusing himself of the crime the entire time. But he was backed into a corner when I revealed I had looked into Corey Rupture's alibi. In a last-ditch effort, he had to accuse the one person he knew had no alibi for the crime. Which was, of course, himself. So that was the real reason for the letter swap then? Just as a last-minute plan B?
In the end, it didn't truly matter who he accused of the crime. So long as he used the remote and nothing happened, you would be found guilty anyways.
Exactly. You're being used all along, Mr. Steele.
Maybe. I don't really care anymore. Maybe it's just what I deserve. After all, I killed John with my inaction. The person we got back was truly never the same. I couldn't save John. I couldn't save Corey. I couldn't even save myself. I'm absolutely good for nothing. I'm just a complete failure.
Well, that about sums it up. A failure, you say? That's an interesting choice of words. You lied and cheated your way out of it for 13 years, and the best you can come up with is failure. Surely a failure would have to actually fail at something. But you didn't. You abandoned me in my time of need, all for your own selfish gain. You didn't fail. You got everything you wanted. You got away scot-free. No, you're not a failure. You're just a coward. If you thought standing up for me would have killed you, then you should have died. But no, you kept living. Kept telling your lie. Well, now you get to keep living. But this time, everyone knows the truth. Now, there's no escape. Everyone knows who you really are. But Corey, he's gone. And I'm glad. The bastard deserved to die. Yet here you all are mourning his death, treating it like it's some sort of tragedy. Shame on you, each and every one of you. That monster doesn't deserve to be remembered. Let him rot in hell. And may all of you rot there with him for acting like what happened to him wasn't deserved. So then, are you finally ready? Ready to admit your true identity? Trying to hide doesn't matter anymore anyways. After all, there's nothing left anymore. There's no love or joy. There's no sadness or surprise, no fear or warmth. All I have left is seething. I had just seen my parents die. I watched as that assassin strung them up by their necks. I called the police and hid under my bed so he wouldn't see me. I was so distraught. I had just lost the people in my life that mattered to me the most. I could barely even talk. When they finally managed to get a statement out of me, they took me away to a secret place. At least, that's what I thought. The cops who escorted me were being paid off. That's interesting. So, the assassins strung up by their necks. Called the police. Yes. Hung to death in their own home, right? Perpetrator had a key. They weren't taking me to witness protection. They took me straight to an alleyway and dumped me. I cried out in pain as I was shot in the back by someone I couldn't see. I fell to the ground. I thought I was done for. But then I saw Corey rushing forward and a little gunshot rang out. Corey getting hit and screaming out was the last thing I remember before I blacked out. The next thing I remember was waking up in the Maractus clinic. Corey was there. His shoulder was all bandaged up. From what I learned, I had been in intensive care for 5 hours. Maractus took a psychological evaluation to see if my mental state had been affected. He asked me a bunch of questions, but I wasn't in the mood to talk about anything. So I lied. I said I couldn't remember anything. He didn't do any further digging and said the attack gave me amnesia. So that's how we ended up with the amnesia diagnosis. After that, Corey dropped me off at witness protection. I asked for his name. I wanted to remember the man who saved my life. If anyone asks, you just tell them Manny Steele saved your life. And that's what set his plan into motion. By giving you the wrong name, he could cast doubt on your testimony. That's exactly what he did. I wanted to testify about my parents' murder, and I told the court that Steele was the one who saved my life. The next thing I know, Corey goes up to Steele and asks him to show his shoulder to the court. Naturally, there's nothing there. I was so confused, I didn't know what was happening. To top it all off, he pulled out the amnesia diagnosis to say I shouldn't know anything. I wanted to say something, but the words wouldn't leave my throat. And besides that, Corey wouldn't even let me get a word in edgewise. That was that. My testimony was thrown out. My parents' murderer was declared innocent.
And then afterwards he took you to the orphanage under the name Aiden.
I guess he figured since I had amnesia, I wouldn't feel the betrayal of his actions. After all, it's not like I could remember what really happened, right? But he was wrong. I remembered everything. I've held onto the hatred of everything and everyone involved in that case for 13 long years. And now, at last, Corey Webster is dead. You have no idea how much joy that brings me. The man who betrayed me. The man who tricked me into making that murderer go free. I feel no pity or remorse for his death. He doesn't deserve it. What happened to him was justice, plain and simple. Cornelius was a man who performed many misdeeds over the course of his life, but it doesn't mean playing judge, jury, and executioner of a man's life is justice. Oh, don't give me that spiel. You know it's bull. If Corey didn't die, he would never face the consequences of his actions. But you had the power to bring Rupture down. You could have shared your story. You could have finally let your voice be heard after all, but instead you resorted to murder. What would sharing my story have accomplished, huh? Rupture was a powerful man. He could have made sure my voice would go unnoticed, and revealing myself to the world would just guarantee someone will come after me again. If I die now, who will ensure justice is done, huh? Who? This isn't justice, it's vengeance, pure and simple. We don't just kill people because we have problems with them. Due process exists for a reason. Once we go down that path, how far will it take us? Who else will we kill because they deserve it? You don't think I haven't tried doing things your way? You think I took the bar exam for the hell of it? What do you think I've been doing? I've been fighting ever since I got this stupid badge to make things right. I've been trying to take down the elites who think they run the place, who take advantage of others. But no matter how many blows I deal, they just keep coming back. The Hydra keeps growing heads. Your way of justice. These courts, they don't work. The elites in power will let people like you and me suffer while they cover up their crimes. It doesn't have to be like that. That's why we're trying to change things, trying to make it better. But you, John, look at yourself. Look at what you've become. The moment you gave up hope, you didn't even realize the man you decided to be like. The man I decided to be like? You still don't see it, do you? In your pursuit for your own brand of justice, take a look back at your own actions. You lied, you obfuscated evidence, you shifted the blame away from the guilty party. You did everything in your power to hide the truth from us, even when you knew what was right. Then you hid your own involvement in this matter, or to fit everything into your narrative of events. You became the very man you swore to hate. You became just like Corey Rupture. Ha! Believe what you want to believe. I know in my heart that I'm right. And the fact that you want to compare me to Corey just shows you don't know a damn thing you're talking about. Corey was a complete monster. Name one good thing he did. He saved Jonathan Seething's life. Though, quite frankly, I'm not sure that's true anymore. Manny Steele is right. Perhaps that young boy died on the night his parents died. The person we got back, Aiden Gambit, became a far more sinister man. That should be all you want. I don't need to hear it from any of you. But you're right about one thing. Jonathan Seething is dead. And these courts, they are the ones that killed him. You claim you want to make things better, but can you? Are you really so naive to try? You can't fix these courts, not when they're fundamentally rotten to their very core. You're wrong, John. It doesn't have to be like this. We can build a better tomorrow. We don't have to live in the dark age of the law. TM. Maybe I'm just being optimistic, but I won't give up hope for a better future for us. Maybe I'm just being naive, but the world I live in is a lot better than yours. The world I live in. That's the real world. Wake up and join it. You can't make things better. It's pointless to think like that. The only way to fix the system is to burn it down to the ground. And then, let the ashes scatter into nothingness, forgotten by time. John, you really think it's so hopeless? I'll just have to prove you wrong. Things can get better, I know it. Now then, are we done here? What? What do you mean? Well, you did a good job of uncovering my real identity. Props. But last I checked, this isn't a trial to determine what happened to John Seething, is it? No, you guys want to point fingers at who off Corey, and I'm not your guy, got it? Even though I literally, you know, have all the reason in the world to want to kill Corey right now. I've given you my motive on a silver platter, but you used the remote to kill Corey Rupture, and you did so publicly in front of the entire courtroom. Is that really all you have against me? Can you prove Corey was hooked up to the pulley at the time? The bruises show he was in the vent. He had to have been hooked up to the pulley. So Duke got a few bruises. Big deal. You can get bruises any time. They don't need to be right before you die, you know. If you bump your knee on a table, does that mean you're gonna die in the next 10 seconds?
So, you're saying the bruises don't prove the victim was in the vents at the time of the murder?
I mean, hey, if you want to use it as proof that he entered the vents, sure. But you can't prove when he was in the vents, can you? Yeah, he's right. I have any way to prove that. Not so fast. Let's not forget that you also planted the remote in my office. Oh yeah, says who? The evidence! Mighty Steel revealed it all. If you entered from the roof, you should appear on the security cameras. All we need to do is play back the tapes. We'll see you went to the elevator and what? You don't have cameras installed on the roof. All you'll see is me entering the elevator and leaving it several minutes later. That would still be hardly conclusive proof that I went up to the roof, wouldn't you say? And how do you explain your movements that day? I don't need to explain anything. Maybe the elevator got stuck. You of all people should know there's a distinct possibility. No! Seething you. Spare me your pathetic bleating, Edgeworth. The fact is you have nothing tying me to the crime at all. All you can prove is that I pressed a button. That's it. There's no proof Corey was hooked up to the pulley at the time. And there's no proof I'm the one who planted the remote or set up this death trap. It's true, I knew that pushing the button would throw the trial. It's not like I didn't test it. What are you gonna do? Sue me? Call me a bad lawyer? Take away my badge? Fine, do what you're gonna do. I don't care anymore. Because as it stands, you can't prove I did anything other than that. It's true I knew pushing the button would throw trial. So he's admitting to wanting to throw it to trial. And so that means he doesn't care about being a lawyer anymore at least. The true culprit of this crime is still the defendant, Hercule Erie. No!
Order! Order! The defense has done quite a bit in unraveling the mystery surrounding the larceny, as well as uncovering the horrid conspiracy within the AS-10 incident. In the end, however, they lacked the evidence to tie these events to Corey Ripsh's murder. All we seem to have done is go back in a circle back to the issue at hand.
But I thought I'd come so far. I proved Steele's confession was fake. I proved John Seething was still alive. I even proved that Corey was the one who saved John's life. I thought I had opened up the possibility for Seething to be the killer. Was I really so far away from proving his guilt all this time? I can't prove John's the killer, or that Corey was hooked up to the pulley during the murder. What am I supposed to do now? Come on, Apollo. Remember what I told you? Mr. Wright. The worst of times when lawyers have to force their biggest smiles. So what's with the frowny face? Now's not the time for that. I'm trying, Mr. Wright. I really am trying. But I don't know what to do next. Where do I go from here? Apollo, I'm telling you, don't worry about it. Remember, you don't need to prove everything. The jury can come to their own conclusions. Right now, there are two possibilities for what could have happened for this crime. The first possibility is the defendant Hercule Erie discovered the victim, snooping around the crime scene, decided to strangle him to death then and there. This is the possibility you must argue against. The second possibility is when the third party set up the pulley in advance of the crime scene, and used that to create a death trap for the victim, dragging him by his neck to be hung. This is the possibility John Seething is trying to shut down. Any way of proving that? These are the possibilities brought to the table. It can be one or the other. All you need to do is counter John's argument for the first possibility, and you win. From now, all that's left is for the jury to decide who the guilty party is. Counter its arguments? Of course. We're sort of done yet. All he's done so far is explain there's no proof he's the killer. But if he really wants to get away scot-free, he'll have to do more than brush us aside. He'll have to argue why Hercule Erie is the killer. Well, John, you heard Mr. Wright. It's either you or Hercule Erie. Those are our two choices. If you walk away now without explaining why he's guilty, you risk him being declared innocent. meaning you would be the guilty party. Really? That's your plan, huh? Trying to trap me in a corner? I could also walk away now and leave you nothing to work with. I could just take my chances. And yet, I've got to respect this strategy. Pretty bold. Well, we're both lawyers. How about we make a deal? A deal? My final argument for why Eerie is the true culprit. But in return, you aren't allowed to call upon help from anyone during our battle of wits. And you aren't allowed to ask any frivolous questions to try and press me for more info. No Mr. Wright, no Mr. Edgeworth, and no jury. Just you, me, and the evidence in the court record. No pressing him or pulling the jury. No, my jury. I'm sorry, juror number 2. I really wanted your opinion on any of this testimony. I'll be taking a huge risk of flipping this offer, but it could be the only way to prove my case. Seething. He's trying to get me to play his game, to be in the same position he was. Take a huge gamble on one avenue forward. Exactly what he did when he threw the case. If I accept the offer, are we doing the same thing? Throwing my chances away? What do? Do I play by his rules? Possibly fall into a trap? If I don't, I could also risk letting him get away. Mr. Justice! I know you're conflicted about whether or not to accept the offer, but you don't need to worry about me. I believe in my innocence. As I said, all I want to know is what happened to Corey. And I trust in you. You haven't let me down, Mr. Justice. No matter how bad things have gotten, you've persevered. Take the offer, Mr. Justice. Bring the truth forward. I know you can do it. Judge Eerie trusts in me? In that case, I have to put my trust in him too. He's right. I can't be second-guessing myself. After all, a dragon never yields. Oh yeah, baby. I accept your offer, John. Let's hear your argument for why my client is guilty. Well, your decision is final. You're backing out now. Let's begin our battle of wits and put an end to this, Mr. Justice. He called me by my name. Well, whatever he says next, it doesn't matter. I play by his rules, but it's still anyone's game. So is that the first time you said that? I guess he's been calling him Red Horn the whole time. Final assessment. The opposing argument. Since Corey is the one who blackmailed Steele, it's clear to me that he is the one who stole the files. He must be going around stealing secret files. That's why he was in Udgy's chambers. On the day of the murder, Corey entered from the vents, which alerted Eerie to his presence. Corey tried to use the pulley to escape, but Eerie used it to end the intruder's life. At some point during the struggle, the rope snapped and was hidden by the vent entrance, closing. Not realizing he was already dead, Eerie then cracked Corey's head in the fireplace.
I see, so is your argument. You seem to have thought it through.
What can I say? I like to be thorough. Thorough? I thought we'd been over this already, Seething. Corey and Upshur already had an alibi for the night of the larceny. Oh please, you don't think I already accounted for that? What was his alibi exactly? That he was working at the office on the night of the crime? Something of the sort, yes. Corey was a rich man, Edgeworth. You really think he couldn't have bought an alibi? I think it's clear his employees wouldn't exactly rat on their boss now, would they? Yeah. So that's your angle, is it? Hey, it doesn't matter. You're not a part of this discussion anyways. This is between me and Justice now.
Mr. Justice, this is how things stand. These contentions are the last roadblock standing between us and letting the jury declare a verdict. Once the deliberations have come to an end, that will be it. The jury must declare a verdict based on the final argument you have made. Understood?
I can't counter his argument. The last impression the jury will get of this case is an argument pointing in the direction of my client's guilt. I better think fast then. I don't know if we can survive another summation examination. What I need is a plan of attack. Seething may seem like he's in control now, like he has everything all figured out. But he's clearly trying to fudge the facts to fit his argument. He's clearly banking on us forgetting about certain details. Or he thinks there are things we don't know that we do. When I present evidence to attack the obvious contradictions, I should be quick and precise. He'll try to change his argument to squirm out of it, no doubt. And maybe that'll leave me an opening to counterattack. The more he has to change his argument, the more his statements will conflict with each other. And when that happens, I'll do what I did in situations prior. Just like when I was up against a jury, when I had to steal tells. Maybe I can't press him for info like I usually do, but I can still press him in other ways by connecting his statements to each other. Eventually, his argument should contradict itself so much, it'll fold in on itself like a house of cards. The defense is ready, Your Honor. This is it. This is my final chance to prove my case. John may think what he did was justice, but he's about to learn what real justice looks like. In the next episode. Oh man, I was thinking, are we actually going to finish it today? But nope, he's got more arguments. Obviously we're going to come back to talk about in a minute. We have been off on side tangents for a while now. Gonna get back to the facts of this. But the next episode might be the last. And yeah, we'll have to... I have no idea how we're going to prove this. We're now at a point where everything, all my predictions have either come true or have been proven to be slightly faulty, and I have no more predictions left for how this is going to go, other than it's probably going to end badly. But yeah, thanks for watching this episode, and I'll see you in the next episode.